Well, here we are. Thoughts from the office. Rednecks Pride Outdoors. Today has been one of those days that I have just received text, private messages, and phone calls about loading a snare or cable restraint. I've also in the mix is questions on when to use a short system versus when to use a long system. And so I thought I would just address the length of the system here, because I don't need to have a visual with that, where I'm probably going to do a video real quick here on how to check to see your load on your cable restraint or snare. Okay, so I'm going to put two videos. This is the one on length of system. Now, in general, just to be really quick at this, so I don't bore you to death, a lot of folks want to use our Pro 52s or Coyote Pro 52, and they should if they want to, because there's a lot of folks out there using it and letting folks know how good the system is. But folks are also ordering them, not understanding what the Pro 52 is made for. The Coyote Pro 52 is made for coyotes to be staked out in the open. Okay? The original anchoring was developed. It was developed for the original anchoring to be used with a earth anchor or double stake plate that has a shock spring on the bottom of it. A shock spring is not a kill spring. By putting the shock spring on the double stake plate or the earth anchor, it gives you 4 to 6 inches above the surface of the ground, meaning the spring. Okay, that 4 to 6 inches with our Coyote Pro 52 gives a system that's just a little bit longer than the coyote's body. And what happens there is this: the coyote cannot gain momentum with that short system. So in turn, he can't put the force on the cable system, on the ends, the double furls. Also, with that inline swivel being up closer to the animal, rather than trying to have a swivel at the very bottom that's going to get fouled, the barrel swivel, the inline swivel, operates much, much longer. So therefore you don't get the cable kinking and fraying, okay, unless something foreign got tangled up between the swivel and the animal somehow. Okay, but for the most part, it's a wide open system, so nothing really gets jammed up in there. The other way to use the Coyote Pro 52, and my son was just doing it the other day with the Coyote, and he checked it out really good for me. He had an earth anchor, and when you set your earth anchor, you know, in my area, we like to use 20 to 24 inch earth anchors. You know, other soils, you can get away with a 16 or an 18, but we go 20, 24. When I drive that earth anchor all the way down into the ground and then pull up to set it, or pull to the side to set it, you usually get 4 to 5 inches of movement when you set your earth anchors, which again is equivalent to the spring. Okay, and again, it gives the system just a little bit longer than the coyote, and the coyote can't build up the momentum. The coyote that my son caught the other morning, he said it was probably a 40, 45 pound coyote, but it couldn't do anything because it was tethered to the ground, more or less. All right, so it could do nothing more than just sit there waiting. All right, that's why anchoring in the open, I like the shortest system I can have. All right, when it comes to tying off, meaning we're not talking about using wire. You can, but I don't recommend that. When it comes to tying off, or where you take the eye of the end of your system, wrap it around a tree or a sapling or something like that, and you feed the cable restraint back through that eye, that's tying off, okay? I like a longer system. Matter of fact, most of the time I'm going to go with a 6-foot cable restraint or snare, and then I'm going to put another 6-foot extension onto it most of the time. Why? Because I want them getting back in to the brush and get wrapped around. So again, what happens? They do not have the leverage to damage the cable. Now, your state, like Pennsylvania, you have to have it staked out in the open with nothing it can tangle with. Okay? Yet Pennsylvania allows a 7-foot system. And folks, that's crazy to have a 7-foot system staked solid in a wide open area, because you're going to lose your coyotes. You're going to. Especially if your system is swiveled at the anchor point, because the swivel's going to foul. Okay, now this is just my mindset. I'm sure there's going to be argument after argument. I'm sure this is going to turn into a barroom brawl. All right? But as a cable restraint manufacturer and a snare manufacturer, the last thing I want is my customers coming back to me and tell me they lost a coyote because of my system. That's why I go to every effort to overthink this stuff and to understand why and how these systems work, so I can better explain and teach it to you, my customers, or to people who just want to get some information. Okay, so in a nutshell, we're talking New Jersey here. If I'm staking in the middle of an open nothingness with grass or whatever, I'm going to go the shortest system I can for fox, coyote, raccoon. If I am tying off into the brush or into the trees or into the woods, I go with the longest system I can. All right? That way I can get him tangled up, and they both serve the same purpose. Limit the movement. You limit the damage on the cable, and you limit the stress on the animal. Okay? That's simple. If he can't get a running bang, hit the end of that thing hard with any amount of force, he can't get hurt or damage the cable. If the swivel is working and it's free movement for longer periods of time, your cable is not going to kink, your cable is not going to fray, and you're not going to get the chew outs, because the coyote is going to chew out or going to chew on the spots that is frayed or knotted up, kinked. All right. Hopefully that helped just a little bit. That's Redneck's Pride Outdoors talking here. You understand what I'm saying here? Okay? Well, I'll talk to you later. See ya. Redneck's Pride Outdoors, thoughts from the office.